All right, so today I want to go over some of the stuff in chapter 4. I think I'm dealing with chapter 4, and it's talking about basically how you can actually some ways you can actually debug your code and handle some of the errors in your code. So when you do get errors, then you'll be able to solve them much faster, and it'll cut your coding time basically in half. Probably even more than that. So here I have a document up here already. You can see an error right there already. And your book talks about how you can actually use the developer tools and browsers that will allow you to find code much faster. Yeah, developer tools have been, I would say, a godsend basically, especially when you're doing with JavaScript. Because in the past, because there is JavaScript is a scripting language, there is no compiler. So when you were getting an error message you could get a runtime message or error, you can never actually find out. You can never tell what the error is because there was no compiler. There was no error thing that actually pop up the errors. Now with some of the developer tools that they've added in web browsers now, they actually do give you that ability to actually step through JavaScript code and code in general, so you can actually see what the issue is, and they actually give you actual error messages so you can actually find your error much faster. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually going to use your the PowerPoints, the code from your PowerPoints that you have, because they're actually really good examples, and they're also easier for me to copy and paste. So let's see. So you have one example I'm gonna have here, and it demonstrates there it is, how you can interpret how your basically how the browser actually interprets errors. Now, with like I said, with JavaScript, if you you'll know it doesn't work because it doesn't do you know what you want it to do, but it's not doing what you want it to do. So you know that it's an error. Error, you just have to go find it. And a lot of times, especially when we make a button and we click on the button and nothing works, usually that's a runtime error. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here. All right. So here we have our message up here. We have our function. Like I said, this code actually came directly from your PowerPoint. So I'm going to put a button here so I can have it so I can have my function assigned to this button, so I can actually run it. I can click equals, and I'm going to copy this right here. All right. Oh, I need to go ahead and put my value in there too. All right, something simple. All right. So what this function is supposed to do is that you have a variable that has a string on it that says this function is missing a curly brace. All right, and it should have an alert that pops out. It can either alert or window alert. They're actually the same thing. And it's going to print out on that in that box or on that box. It's going to have this sentence: this function is missing a curly brace. So that is what's supposed to happen. But because we know it's an error in here, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to bring up. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to open up that file that I had. All right. So I have my button. When I click on my button, nothing works. So we definitely know it's an error because it's not working someplace. But in your chapter, it actually talks about using your developer tools, and most browsers it's usually F12 key. So you can hit your F12 key on your keyboard, ooh, and it brings up your console. Yeah, in your book it talks about the console. how you can actually go on the console and actually find the error messages. You can also go to sources as well, and it could be the same thing. I mean, actually, like I'm in Chrome right now. This is actually telling me all this is telling me is that on line 15 I have an issue. So let me go to sources. Yeah, so sources I can actually see where it is. Oh, my breakpoints. Okay. All right. Now I'll talk about breakpoints in a minute. Yeah. So here it actually tells me because I had those breakpoints on there. Let me actually refresh it. Okay, there it is. So right there, it's telling me. Okay, I had that in line 9. That's an issue. It doesn't tell you what it is. It just tells you it's an issue. So we know what the issue is. But if I were to bring up Firefox, and Firefox actually probably does a better job than this. Open. Right. So I'll click on nothing works. When I go to their developer tools down at the bottom, it actually tells me what the error is. Down at the bottom, it says, "Oh, yeah, you have a missing curly brace someplace." So on up here it says, "Yeah, on line 11, you missing a curly brace." So I go back to my code here, say fine, get my curly brace, put my curly brace on there. All right. Now that I put that in there, it should now work. That function should now work. So I do my refresh it. There you go. Now it tells me, yeah, this function missing curly brace. And I go back to Chrome, do refresh. Now you notice my console stuff is gone. I can click on my button, and it gives me my message. All right. Yeah, so that's one way of dealing with code or dealing with errors. Or another thing way you can do it is you can actually just comment the lines out or comment the section of code out. So let's see. So I'm gonna comment this message out, and I'm gonna have it actually print. So I'm gonna do document.write, and I'm actually gonna have it. That's how I want print to the window. Message. No, that's what happens when you can't type. All right. I'm gonna save it, and I think I know what it's gonna do already. I'm thinking, all right, since I have my document I write over here, I think it's gonna automatically spit this out. Hold on, turn it on. I think it's gonna spit this out already, and I don't think it's. And when we click on the button, it's gonna do the same thing. So I think so. I personally think it's gonna pop up twice. It's gonna give us the ability to actually pop it up twice. That's what I think. We'll see. All right. So there. All right. We click on it. Click on curly brace. Okay. Okay. So it didn't do. Okay. So it did. It actually did exactly what we wanted to do. But I actually have another thing. All right. I want to show you. In actually, I'm actually gonna comment this out too. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna comment this out too. And I believe it's in chapter 2. I think when it's told you about the on click events. It also I think it also talks about the unload event too. So and basically what the unload event does, it allows you to execute a function as soon as the page loads. So when the page loads, it's going to pop up my function. It's going to execute my function. So come here, put that in there. All right. So I'm gonna save it. Okay. Now I want to execute it. All right. You see, nothing happened. All right. I know why it didn't happen. So let me see if let me go to Firefox and see if Firefox actually gives me the actual error I'm looking for. Let's see, ooh, this gotta be completely. Ooh, it didn't give me anything. All right, okay, because we told it to do it on because we told it to do it on load. It didn't work. We got rid of the button. Remember, we comment the button out right here. So the reason why it's not working is because on the on load event, you have to have your semicolon. Like down here, and I heard we didn't have to have a semicolon on the on click, but for the on load, we have to have the semicolon in there. So when you're actually dealing with the code, look for the simple stuff. Look for did I say that? Yeah. Look for the simple code. Look for the simple stuff like missing semicolons, missing quotes, missing uh, parentheses. Look for stuff like that because and I would say probably make that the first thing you look for because that's about maybe honestly maybe like 95% of all the errors come from like something small like that. So so definitely try that first. Okay, how come do my unload? All right. All right, let me try my Chrome then. See, it didn't give me an error message either. It didn't give me an error message on that either. All right, so in this particular case here, so we know it worked before. When we did our currently we did our try to do the onload, it didn't work with the onload. And we have to find out why. All right. Yeah. It really shouldn't have made a difference, but interesting. Fine, be that way. Very interesting. Well, now let me do my own load. And I know why I won't let me do my load because I commented out all of the stuff. There you go. See, this stuff like that. So now, what happened is that I had all of the results that for where I wanted to actually have it load to. I had all of it commented out. So now when I comment some of the stuff out, it should now run. There you go. So, and the reason why I didn't pick up was like, wait a minute, all the stuff is there, some of it in there. So, oops. This is gonna do both of them, sure. Yeah, did both. Yeah. All right, so that's one way. So just actually commenting stuff out, and just going back and actually looking over the code to see exactly what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and actually show you guys another example real quick. And this is also um, from your PowerPoints. And so all the stuff that I'm using is coming directly from your PowerPoints, all this code. Because you guys know I am too lazy to go and actually, and I cannot type. So I am going to, so I'm going to copy and paste code that's already in here. All right. So for this particular function right here, it actually calculating somebody's gross pay and their net pay. So it includes all the nice little taxes. When you're dealing with math like this right here, like actually trying to doing formulas and stuff like that, I would use when you're doing your testing, I would actually use certain numbers or numbers that that you know work and you know what the answers to. So when you go to actually run it to make sure all of the calculations are correct, then you know exactly what number you're supposed to get when you execute that when you actually run that particular equation or particular uh, formula. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna take out this unload right here. All right, and I'm going to put this button back in here. I, and I think in your book, you know, I think in your book, let me do this. Really? No. Fine. I thought so. Maybe clicked in there. Fine. And I missed I even raise it. Okay. It looks right. All right. So now, what this is going to do, or how this is set up, is that to make sure that this calculation is actually the gross pay calculation is correct, it's going to have it. I'm say blurred out, but it's actually going to have an alert pop up giving you the gross pay, the gross pay calculation, or the answer to the gross pay um, equation right here. And which is also a good thing too, because you want to make sure you definitely know what you're doing. Because if you go through this whole thing and you end up, and you go through this whole calculation thing, and come to find out the very first calculation is wrong, you want to, and you have to go back and redo everything. So I'll go ahead and click on it, and here it tells me, okay, so because it says 15, so it should be 15 times 40. All right, and it said it's 600. Okay, so we know that calculation is correct. All right, so I'll come back here, and so I know that's correct. So I can go ahead and comment that out, and I can say for this one right here, I can tell, okay, so I have another one that says net pay. Okay, now we can actually do a window alert. Okay, and we can tell it to, okay, tell us what the calculation is for using all the federal tax and all that good stuff. Tell us what this talks about, or what this is. Gross pay. All right, net pay. So do net pay, and sometimes, like especially you doing like a lot of calculations like that, you may have to go through all this. So it tells me, okay, see, 559. Okay, so that's the net pay. All right. Okay, so good, good, looks good. All right. So okay. So like I said, if you have like a certain amount of numbers to test out these calculations, you'll know exactly what number to expect, and you'll see if you got the calculations correct. All right. Okay, so I can take that out. All right. So it's gonna let me do it. Yeah. That pay, blah blah blah. That play, that pay. Let's return that pay. So I think it's gonna. I don't think anything's gonna show up. Dope. Let's have to. Oh, just check and see. But yeah, so if we do so even down here, if you do our window alert, you should get the same thing. Now there you go. Yes, it should give us the same thing. I broke it. I'm always breaking stuff. Yeah, so I think I know what it is. No, it's in there. I was thinking that it was missing a semicolon, but it's not. All right. So we know it worked right here. When I moved it, didn't work. Okay, so this one here only actually does the gross fees minus federal taxes. But as you know, I have to do net pay also includes. I'm gonna have to. I still should have done it. Interesting. It's just interesting because it told it to return the net pay, but it did not do it. All right, so slowly going through here. Okay, so that's right. All right, so next, so I'm gonna come that back out. Snip. Okay, five. Right. All right. Let's see. That's not what I want. It should be net pay. There it is. That's not what I was looking for. Now, it's like what the devil? Yeah. So the reason why it actually came down here, because now it's actually calculating all, that is the state taxes, Social Security number, and Medicare. So that's why the numbers are different. So let's see. Dot to fix. Oops. And this is basically just going to fix two. Basically, just tells you how many decimal places you want to put at the end of it. So I think in JavaScript, there it is, two decimal places. Basically you can't tell it. There is no like, there's no float data type, so it automatically just spits it out as numbers. So if you want to basically format it, the format you have to ask, so something readable, especially something like this right here, you have to actually go and actually code it to code the formatting into it, so it'll work. So if I wanted to format, put a dollar sign in there, I have to put a dollar sign in there. Alert. I know this. Dollar sign. Alright, so okay. So now I still have it open. I have my thing over here. So anything it errors pop up, it should pop up, right? Yeah, there. So it's my dollar sign. Right. And to put in the comma, I think you have to use two string, I believe, to do it. But let me do it there. I think I have to actually do something completely different. I think I have to actually probably make like another variable or something. But see, that actually gives you a, and I might actually use the same one. So that shows you how you can actually use the alerts to actually help you walk through your code. I mentioned, or you can I think just like you had in Java when you were doing with the Eclipse. You also could actually walk through and actually set breakpoints. And with a lot of these developer tools in the browsers, you can actually do that. And you probably saw I had so many breakpoints already on there. So if I had an issue I want to find, I can just click on that particular one and I'll say, okay, once you get to that point, tell me what it is. When you get to that particular line, tell me what it is. This works really well, especially if you're dealing with either a syntax error or even a logical error. It really helps. Um, just trying to see. Oh, yeah, console log. That's right. So if I wanted to talk about doing, yes, I had a net pay and a gross pay up here. Instead of using the window alert, I can actually tell it to log it inside the console, inside the browser console. Um, dot log. There you go. I can do the same thing with, and it'll actually write it directly to. Same here. And I should, so when I go to my console to view my console, I should have at least 3 lines that it prints, and all 3 of these print directly to the console, to the browser console. So I'm gonna save it. All right. So make sure it says console log. All right. Click on it. There you go. So now it goes so it logs those answers right there inside of my browser console. So that's one way. So there's a lot of ways you can actually troubleshoot your code, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of code. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely insane. How you can actually do how you can actually ways you can actually troubleshoot different types of code. Um, do something real quick. Yeah, I don't think your book has actually mentioned to y'all yet about some of the math stuff, about some of the math methods in JavaScript. And I might have to do maybe a separate video on that one. But you can do so much stuff. That's actually one of my favorite methods is the math method. Since we're dealing with numbers, let's do net pay. Let's see if it'll work. The console. Somehow have it right directly to the console. It's one thing. So yeah, make sure you have your braces. Make sure you have your different parentheses too. Check those. Make sure you check those out, and also your quotes. Because remember, when you're dealing with quotes or dealing with strings, you have to have your double quotes have to be outside of the statement. Any quotes that need to be done inside of it have to be single quotes. Alright, so let me try this and save it. Yeah, I saved it. Let me refresh this. Alright, so it says down there. Alright. No. There it is. So it actually rounded to the nearest decimal place for the other one. So you don't no longer have the decimals. Yeah, so taking some consideration some of the things you actually when you're troubleshooting your code, because you really um, yeah, because you really it will, like I said, help you out a lot when you're actually troubleshooting your code and save you a lot of time. Let me see. Just trying to see some other stuff in there too. Yeah, it also talks about the catching in here in your command line. Yep. You can also use that. You also talk about using the strict mode, and what the strict mode is basically it some features of it gives you basically the general basic JavaScript. So in CPT 176, you talk about the Windows and safe mode. It is basically the safe mode for JavaScript. So you won't have all the extra stuff. So you'll know so if there's any bugs in the code, you can actually use strict, and you'll be able to see if it runs or not. All right. So all right. So that's it. Like I said, chapter four is pretty, I won't say simple, but it gives you a lot of information about how you can actually troubleshoot different your code to make your time more efficient and your code more efficient. Um, what's on for chapter four homework? That's actually straight out the book. I want to say I think it's like 211, I think, or something. And you basically it shows you a piece of code, and you basically have to determine what the error is. All right. So make sure you do your chapter four quiz. Yeah, when is your chapter four quiz, dude? I think it was already due. So I'm doing this video here on like the third. Yeah, I know a little late. See if it'll pop up. All right. Yeah, I'll come back to that message in a minute. But yeah, your chapter four code. Ooh, speaking of the devil, let's actually do today. So make sure you do your chapter four, your homework, as well as your quiz. I think the quiz is due today too. Yeah, the quiz is due today too. So make sure you do both of those assignments so you can get credit for the week. Um, yeah, your test one. As I was going through and actually grading everyone's assignments and stuff, just about everyone who actually took the test did not do very well. I'm talking like 50s and stuff. So what I decided to do is I decided to do a replacement test. And so I made a replacement test, and it's multiple choice questions, multiple choice, short answer, fill in the blank, questions like that, and they're on D2L. It's open book. You can take it home. You can do it. You can take it at home. You don't have to come here to the test center to take it. It's due by November 7th. And whatever those grades are, that'll be the grade that replaces that you'll be used for your test one. What I have so with the grades, with the especially with the short answer questions, I have to grade those manually. So whatever grade it shows you at the end, that is not your final grade, official final grade. Once I have manually graded those questions, then you actually your grade book on in the grade book you'll see your updated and final grade. All right. So hopefully that can definitely get your some of your grades up, because like I said, it was a couple of those were actually ungradable. So so this is it for chapter four. I'm gonna come back later. I'm about to do the one for chapter five, the B for chapter five, and I'm trying to keep up with these videos because I know a lot of you guys are saying that actually they're very helpful. So I'm gonna try to actually keep it going. All right, but see you guys soon.